Welcome back F11 members to part 2 of the fundamentals of post-production video tutorials for issue 85, February 2019. Yesterday morning I was out shooting this winter scene over Somerset, just down the road from where I'm sat now in our office. Here is Kingsbury Farm near Milbourne Port. Over here is the hamlet of Milbourne Wick. And we got some snow, a bit of a rarity in this part of the world, and just a bit of dawn twilight filtering through the sky there. I made this panorama. So I thought I'd just talk you through the post-production on this. So let's go back into Lightroom, and here is the shoot. And as you can see, I made these vertical images to merge together. Overlapping images shot vertically using the Canon EOS R mirrorless camera and the 100 to 400mm lens rotating on the tripod there. How many frames? Let me count, 10, 12, 15 frames, I think, there merged to make this panorama. So I've flagged the ones to be merged, so now I just select them, come down here, press Shift, select all of those, come up to the menu bar at the top, underneath Photo, click on Photo, and it comes up with Photo Merge, and I just want to make a panorama. So I'm going to do that, so I click on Panorama, and away Lightroom clicks. And I've just left it on the cylindrical option. If you see how it does this, there's very little difference between the cylindrical and the spherical in this particular instance. There's the image. Just interestingly here, I've got clicked on auto crop. I could choose to unclick that, and I can always fine-tune my cropping subsequently in Lightroom. Nothing is left by having that on. I choose not to put auto settings on because that starts Lightroom starts making some questionable decisions there. And if you just look at the difference between spherical and cylindrical, I can't see anything really. Perspective, it won't do it. So let's just leave it on cylindrical. I'm happy with that, and I'm going to merge it. So I click on merge, and I'm going to pause you now while that's happening. Okay, so it's made the panorama, and here it is. And if I go into develop module now, we see it. It's a huge picture. And the first thing I'm going to look at is the cropping. As I said, I left auto cropping on. So now if I go to crop overlay, it shows me where it's cropped. Now I can choose to fine tune that cropping here. Can you see on the right of the frame there are some telegraph poles in there, so I'm just going to crop them out of the image. Okay, to about there. And on the left of the picture here, I have this debate about how much of this area I want to leave in. I've got quite a lot of dead area in this bottom left of the picture, so I'm going to bring it into about there actually, because if a panorama is too wide, it just looks like a bootlace of a picture there. Okay, now it's important to me that I get that bottom edge of that hedge in there. So I'm just going to move the bottom crop down a bit now. We've got a bit of white bit coming in there, but I can live with that. So I'll click on Done. And now what am I going to do to this picture? Well, I'll start processing it as I would do normally, really. So let's just look at what we've got here. And the image, of course, is very blue as it was shot in that light before sunrise, which is all part of the appeal. But actually, I think it's just a bit too bluish. So I'm just going to warm it up a touch here by altering my color temperature up to about 7,500 there. 7,000. Yeah, around about that there. Now, generally speaking, as you know, I don't tend to mess with the white balance of a picture, but in this particular case, I think it's beneficial. Now I'm going to look at the image generally speaking. I just want to select the landscape part of that. So I'm going to use the grab tool here and bring it in from the bottom of the image. Hold down my shift key so it remains level and move it up so that it's quite a hard grad there. And now what I want to do is adjust my whites just in that bottom area of the image there. If I go too far, it shows me where I'm clipping my whites, so I can go up to about -35. Just make sure that snow looks clean and fresh and not dirty and grey. Let's have a look at my blacks here as well. I'm going to move those to the left a touch until I start clipping. You see the blue appear there where I'm clipping too much, so come back a bit there. And now just come down here to, I'm going to put a touch of dehaze into the image because there was a bit of sort of foggy mistiness around, just a teaspoonful. Now I need to readjust my blacks because I'm clipping blacks there. Bring them back again until you can see the arrow up here on the left of the histogram goes out. And just a touch of exposure as well, just to brighten up the image a touch. Okay, I think that's good. Let's go with that. Done. And now I'm going to do the same but on the sky. So I'm going to use another grad, brought in from the top of the frame. Hold down the shift, pull that down. And now I'm just going to put a bit of punch into that sky there. So I can come left on my blacks a bit. And I can pull back my highlights there. And also exposure. Now can you see there's a bit too much of an obvious grab there. So I soften it a bit. And I think that's worked quite well. I can come back a bit more on the exposure. Okay, make it a softer grab there. That's worked well, don't you think? Just put a little bit of saturation in there, just a hint, to bring out that hint of pinkiness in the sky there. Click on done. It's looking good, isn't it? So really, to finish the picture, I've got to deal with this white bit here, and that's best done actually in Photoshop. So I'll see you there in a second. So here's my image panorama open in Photoshop. First thing I'm going to do is actually save it and give it a name, because when it makes a panorama it just gives it an arbitrary name. So I'm going to, as usual, select the frame that's in the middle, the reference number, and just give it a name. You'll have your own convention for doing this, but I'm going to give it Reunion 6260. That's the frame from the middle, and then Pano. Okay, that's good. Save that. Okay, now let's just deal with this white bit down the bottom here. So if I come to my tools here and I use my magic, which one is it? I always get them mixed up. Here, let's move this over so you can see what I mean. The magic wand, that one there. Click on that, come down here, click on the white bit. It's selected that white area. Now I run my action, which is called expand and fill, which literally just expands the selection by 1 pixel and then fills it using content aware. So play that. And it's munching on it. Fair bit of information to deal with because it's such a big image. Let's just, always best to just double check here with this sort of thing. You're not getting any kind of obvious cloning coming in the picture. I'm not expecting any problems because it's a pretty easy area to fill in. Looking down here at the bottom of the frame, that seems, I can't see any duplication that's going to worry me, so that's all fine. So come out on this, back to where we were. Now what do I want to do with this picture? Pretty much finished with it. But I think we're going to use it as the banner image to lay along the top of the F11 Photography Magazine website for this particular issue. So to do that, I need to crop it. So first, let's just save this particular image. So I'm going to click that before I do anything else. And now I'm going to come along to my crop tool here in Photoshop. Click on that. And can you see up the top here it says ratio? So I know that the pixel dimensions for those banner images for our website are 1920 by 420. That's a given. That's built into the website design. So if I put in 1920 by 420 up here, it's there now giving me the aspect ratio that's going to fit that usage. So, and now I just move this area, move the crop area left and right, up and down to what I want. And I'm just going to go to there. Now let's go here. Now I have the option of taking those telegraph cables out, but you know, they're part of the scene. It's, I'm not sure, but in this particular case, I think I'm going to leave them in. So there's my crop. I'll just hit return and it'll make that crop. There we go, and it's done. So that was yesterday's panorama shoot, processed, and I hope that's useful. And we'll look forward to hearing your suggestions for what you'd like to see in due course. Keep exposing.